Like I was saying, I changed the interior of this room to make it look more scientifically or more technological. And the Dark Knights have a higher chance of resisting Confuse. Let me show you that, or at least test it for myself. Okay, 2 of the 5 were charmed. Which one's the first and third one, right? Okay, so I wanted to discuss the wizard, my homie. What I like about him is that he has a lot of spells, but you don't always know what to do with them because they're indirect. But hey, it's better using them than just not using them. And me as a player, I find myself trying things out that I otherwise would not try. And often, at the end of the ride, I find out that good use of the wizard spells are just as good as those of the warlock. It just takes a little bit longer. And so the wizard is not as good as the warlock when fighting against trash mobs, mostly because it takes longer to fight them. But he's definitely better against bosses because of the buffs he gives. And he can help attack, which is nice. You won't use the wizard for that alone. And the wizard has much easier access to haste 2 and temper 2 and temper 3. So there's a significant difference between his damage output against the endgame bosses than the others. Oh, you cannot run away from basilisks. Oh, I want to cast Soft on the other. Soft works pretty well against them. We'll cast Ice 3. That'll help. So, is the wizard one of the best classes in the game? Well, he brings something good to the party. He brings something good to the table. And it's always good having him. Then again, he does a little bit of direct damage, but not really enough to do enough damage for the whole party. So he'll need some help with that. Now, I don't think in a vacuum he's that good, but because he's such an extreme character, he makes parties well. He does something significant. And if you pair him with a Viking or with a character that can also buff around and make fights almost too easy, like the cleric, I find that he shines a bit more than he would in a vacuum. He's a role player, and he does his role very well. And just like in basketball, good basketball teams are full of so-called role players, and they can make a big difference. I don't know if you're following the NBA recently, but it's not about stacking talent anymore now. It's more about getting the right pieces together. We've seen that with the San Antonio Spurs and with the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors, and like LeBron James is the antithesis of this. He's just chock full of talent, and his teams, well, he had a lot of talent with Miami, and well, they did well, but it wasn't like they steamrolled the competition. Both of the finals they won were, well, in my opinion, they were rather close. I have so many heal spells. I don't want to waste them, though. No, going to be... Oh, Jesus. And we need money, too. Okay. I can get away with this. Oh, opal armor. That'll help. Good. So now we have 35 absorb instead of 30. Hey, rock columns. So, speaking of role players, the next class I'd like to discuss will be the priest. His role is naturally healing. Now, everybody can heal a bit, but it's such a different experience when he's your main healer. He can cast heal 3s like the sage can cast heal 2s. And heal 3's pretty strong. So you don't have to, you can get really sloppy with your healing. Okay, we can't use those. I'm going to throw them away immediately. They are not worth anything in the shop. One last treasure chest. We don't need to get this actually, but just for style points. Let's cast... I want to see how a Quake does. This might be my death. But, I see it doesn't work that well. And now we get the bolts. Which did kill them all. So having a pre-seer party, you really tell the difference. They make bosses also much easier. Because you can counter almost anything they do to you. Simply by casting a heal 3. What am I trying? I want to heal up. Well, might as well use the heal 3 because we're getting out of here after this fight. And it's a cure potion. I need to use a soft. Okay. Not quite close to level up. Not that much of a point in getting new magic spells now. The Warlock will get her first level 8 magic spell, but we already have Meteor. So I'm going to heal up. And then use a 10. I mean a house. Good. And we get to go back in. Only this time with better armor. Is there any other stuff? Yeah, I could sell the... I have quite a lot of money at my disposal. And this trip we're going to get even more. Let's run away from these. Now this trip is usually a big thing for most other parties because you get the ass candy. Yes, I pronunciated that correctly. The ass candy is a sword from World of Warcraft. Very strong one. You can get it in what at the time was the hardest dungeon in the game, Blackwing Lair. And it dropped from the last boss, and it looked horrendously strong, and that it sure was. I believe it had even better stats than the Grand Marshal sword, so those interested in PvP, player versus player, would even get into fighting computerized opponents just to get the best sword. And the name Ass Candy, well, that's just showing off, right? The way swords are also worn in that game, in World of Warcraft. They were on your back in such a way that, yeah, they covered your rear. So it was, people called that. If you had a really nice weapon, they would call it Ass Candy. So they named the sword that. And it's a very strong sword in this game because it's the first sword that has elemental attributes, namely fire. And I think that's the only thing, actually. But that makes it... Oh yeah, it's also good against dragons. Yes. So, since there are a lot of enemies who don't like being hurt by fire, such as the undead, and, well, dragons start to become a big part of the game from now on. It's a pretty good sword to have. But the thing is, the rogue already has Sting. Sting hits even harder. That didn't go too well. We'll cast the Holy 2, see what happens. So for most other parties, there's usually a sword wearer, and that sword wearer then gets to have a major increase in damage output. So most parties look forward to that, but this one not that much. I might occasionally equip the S Candy, because I know I'll be fighting a dragon, but other than that, nah. Better off sticking to Sting. What does this robot say, actually? I never talked to him. Oh, getting punished for that. Nothing here, no. Oh, hey, walk through him. Oh yeah, he gives you an idea where to find our friends in the secret island. What does the cube do? What? He doesn't have any weapons or armor? Wow. Well, the cube opens up a secret area in the Temple of Fiends. We'll see that later on. It's the same as in Final Fantasy Ultra and also Final Fantasy -1, which first said that. Okay, so I don't have the Ass Candy yet. I will cast the heal though. Here we get our first dragon. The blue one. Who's not a who's not a, you call that, pushover. I won't bother casting haste. Maybe I should have actually. Yeah. I'm not respecting his high amount of hit points. He's a dragon. Okay. He's not very good to grind because he does too much damage. But he's always there. We have 1 more minute. I don't think we'll be able to get all the chests, so no Ass Candy this video, but mostly gold. This time I will be taking the time into account and say adieu on time. Yep, made it. The Dark Knight. No, he's not Batman. Batman doesn't use swords. Okay. Oh, it's Grey Nagas. Grey Nagas are very good against casters. Okay, we'll leave it at this, fellas. There's 1 more room to go, and that will be for next time.